Welcome back to the Caregiver Minute, where every weekday family and professional caregivers gather to refine their skills, gain inspiration, and prepare to serve. One of the most important skills any of us can develop in life is learning to recognize the difference between a symptom and the real problem. The other day I was talking to a good friend of mine who shared with me that one of his daughters was really battling depression, and things had gotten bad. He was very worried about her. She was going to a psychiatrist and trying out different kinds of antidepressant medication, and things just were not working very well. It was going from bad to worse. And I knew from her history that she had had a nasty concussion about 9 months ago. And as we talked about things, I told my friend, have you ever considered that this is a symptom of post-concussion syndrome? It's extremely common that people will have a concussive event and it will ignite an inflammatory response that just sort of smolders for months on end. And down the road, you end up with depression or anxiety or a sleeping disorder or an eating disorder or some other challenge. The real problem is neuroinflammation. It's an immune system in the brain that's revved up and not turned off. I've mentioned here before in the Caregiver Minute that if you think about what happens when someone gets sick, like with a nasty virus, well, your energy production shuts off. You lay in bed feeling awful. You feel a little bit depressed. You're brain fogged. You don't really care about anything. But you know what's going on, especially if there's an illness that's been circulating around in the community. The same kind of thing happens when the brain gets affected in other ways and fires the immune system up. You just don't always connect the dots. Well, when I talked to my friend about this, he said, maybe that's what we're missing. That makes a lot of sense. And so we talked about some specific things that she could do to calm down that inflammatory response. Well, I talked to him just a few days later, and he said she is doing so much better. Thank you for connecting those pieces. I also had a recent experience with a client here at Mind for All Seasons who has battled mental health challenges for years. It's been an up and down roller coaster with anxiety and depression that would just flare at times. And it was really challenging to figure that out until we realized that almost every time her anxiety would flare up, within a few days she would have cold sores on her lips or even in her nose. And since herpes simplex virus can go into the brain and cause an inflammatory response there, we started recognizing that the anxiety was a symptom of the underlying problem of herpes simplex virus. And so our medical director had her take a much longer course of valcyclovir for months, and things have cleared dramatically. She's quit the roller coaster ride of up and down anxiety. It's remarkable to see a change like that. But both of these cases are reminders to me that we should never confuse the symptom with the underlying problem. So today I invite you to consider the symptoms that you're seeing and what might the root cause actually be. I've thrown out some ideas related to mental health that are sometimes the underlying cause, but there are a lot of other things in life where symptoms and root causes are very different. For example, maybe you have a relationship that doesn't seem to be going very well. That's more of a symptom, and the underlying cause is the behavior of the participants in that relationship. What could we do differently? How could we change our behavior to move things in a more positive direction? I hope as you consider the difference between symptoms and root causes, that you'll begin to see the world with a fresh perspective that will help you find answers that move things forward for you and for the people that you serve. Well, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for another episode of the Caregiver Minute.